Hello Internet, Mike Portolini here playing Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York. So I'm just going to pick up right where I left off. Without any much to say, just going to jump right on in. Isolated kind of easiest prey, of course, but much depends on context. Hunting requires a different approach in a busy club than it does on an empty street. With time, you will have the luxury of finding your preference in hunting methods and prey. For now, I suggest experimenting in moderation. Feeding from the same area repeatedly can be dangerous, but by branching out, you risk the ire of other kindred whose domains you trespass. Luckily for you, New York City is more forgiving in this regard. New York is in somewhat of a unique position. Many of its neighborhoods remain contested or unclaimed. The reason for this is a lesson for another time, but keep the following in mind. Take opportunities to feed when they present themselves these upcoming nights. As long as you hunt cautiously and respect the masquerade at all times, you should be fine. To wit, I want you to join me for a trip tonight. Come downstairs. Gregory's waiting for us. The busy street fills the air with traffic noise, pedestrian chatter, and a mix of smells that disorient you momentarily. These warm bodies contain what you want, what you need. You catch yourself. Did you really just think of these people as mere sources of blood? It takes a nudge from Sophie to break your train of thought. Her driver opens the door for her and then tips his hat to you, gesturing to the back of the car. The car casually joins the somewhat thin New York traffic. It's still busy in a way only one of the biggest cities in the world can be, but compared to the daytime commute, it's a pleasant drive. You barely have time to gather your thoughts and formulate new questions before the car comes to a stop. You're among the tall skyscrapers that make up Manhattan's iconic skyline. You feel a pang of emotion as you realize this is where you took part in the exhibition just 2 nights prior. Same address, and, you suspect, same hall. To what ends has it been repurposed tonight? Come, Em. Park the car, Gregory, will you? The driver just nods and Sophie gets out. You join her and the two of you walk through the glass doors together and take the elevator up. You first notice an empty stage with the instruments of a string quartet still in the back, and taking the few dozen chairs in front of it. The concert seems concluded. The patrons, all smartly dressed and posh, are spread out all over the hall. Sophie strides confidently inside. This is an invitation from her purse that she flashes in front of a security guard. You follow close and are let through without issue. Let's start easy. A social setting like this one would usually prove quite challenging to an inexperienced kindred, but considering this evening a small gift from your patron, I'm hoping to procure for you a willing vessel. Just remember what I told you about taking small sips. This one I have a soft spot for. Don't damage her. Now let's see here. There he is. She notices somebody in the crowd, flashes a heart-melting smile, and suddenly even you feel drawn to her. You haven't thought about it before, but it's laid clear before you in this moment. Sophie's beautiful. Just looking at her is a privilege. Just being with her makes you feel elated. Everybody in the crowd, but especially the man who's almost tripping over himself to reach her, clearly agrees. Edgar, so happy to see you. How is your daughter? Is she with you? Oh, there she is. Julie, my girl, come over, please. There's somebody I'd like you to meet. The young woman who walks across the hall can't be more than 19 years old. It's clear from her mismatched earrings and the partially faded purple hair dye that she doesn't fit this crowd. Julie, this is Em. The two of you should get acquainted while I talk business with your dad. Awful boring stuff, I assure you. I'm positive you'll enjoy each other. The girl gives you a shy smile and nods towards the balcony stairs. You follow, somewhat unsure what it is exactly he expects you to do. You reach this excluded space from which the entire lobby is visible. All eyes are on Sophie. You listen intently and laugh when she does. Julie saves you the trouble of figuring out the next step. If you're with Sophie, then I guess you're, mean that, you know. She puts her wrist to his lips and gives herself a theatrical nip and looks to you embarrassed, but also hopeful. Yes. Yes, I do. She takes off her jacket, unbuttons her sleeve, and rolls it up. You see a tattoo of a cat in an astronaut suit, one feline eye winking at you. There. Just enjoy. A perfectly awkward smile and a blush. You take her forearm in your hands. A quick look confirms nobody's watching. No security cameras cover this area. You bite down gently. It's surreal. She's just giving you her blood of her own volition. How is this possible? What about the masquerade? You need to ask Sophie. Your thoughts disappear amid the bliss. There's just the taste, sweet, fresh, sanguine. You drink. And drink. And drink. No. Stop. Stop. Stop! You turn away from the girl harder than you wanted. Still, the bite leaves just tiny punctures. Almost as a bit by instinct, you lick them clean and the two holes become concealed. Just like that. Julie is now leaning on the wall, pale, wobbly on her feet, but happy? She lets out a dreamy sigh, opens her eyes. A few tears fall onto her shirt. Tears of joy. Thank you. Please, can you walk me downstairs? Please. My dad, he doesn't know. Thinks it's a condition. Miss Langley told him so. She leans on you and requests you walk her over to a bench. She takes a seat and smiles at you. The crowd around Sophie disperses slowly, looking at her now. Only some residual awe hangs in the air. Yes, she's pretty, maybe even beautiful, sure. But not your type. What came over you before? Before this game explains, I know exactly what happened. Anybody who's a fan of Vampire the Masquerade knows exactly what happened. You walk over to her. Edgar, dear, it was splendid talking to you, but we need to get going. Give Julie my best wishes. Come with me, Em. Gregory's waiting for you out front. It's only in the car that Sophie addresses you. I can tell from your look that you took the opportunity. Good for you. That girl's exquisite, don't you think? Exquisite. You wouldn't tell by her demeanor, but she has so much passion. Brings out a unique bouquet in her blood. I think she knows who we are. That's not normal, right? It's not usual, that much is true, but don't worry. She will do anything I tell her to, and won't say anything to anyone that I haven't put in her pretty little head first. Time for the next stop. Training wheels off this time. Gregory. Flushing Meadows, please. The driver takes the car over the Williamsburg Bridge. You settle your thoughts. Those people back at the hall, they were all entranced. Even I was under your spell. What was that? She smiles with satisfaction. That old trick? Just the blood doing my bidding. We all have our talents. Some of them come from the legacy we inherit from our sire. Others can be learned with experience. I can sway people and make them fear me. I see more of the world in greater detail than some kindred. I can will my body to move with unparalleled precision and grace, and more. All of these skills make me who I am. They also help me hunt. So what are my talents? Time will tell. You need to discover them yourself. When we arrive, experiment. If we bring a try, follow your instinct and intuition. It will guide the blood. Always keep the masquerade in mind, however. It's all fine if you can disappear in plain sight or command animals with your mind, but save those overt talents for the right place and time. It only takes you half an hour to reach the park at the time of night. Both you and Sophie leave the car with Gregory left behind again to find a parking spot and keep an eye on the car. Sophie seems deep in thought. She takes in the surroundings with a dreamy gaze. The sky is surprisingly clear tonight, stars just barely visible in the light-polluted aura of the city. I feel like having a snack myself. I'll be by the fountain. Go, look for somebody to your liking. See what effects you can achieve with your blood. But only pick one victim. Just one. Then come back. Seeing how she seems not altogether here right now, decide to leave Sophie to her own devices and seek out your prey. From here, it looks like you have a few choices. Just taking a stroll around the park and finding an isolated jogger or someone like them could work, but focusing on one area might work better. The New York State Pavilion might work as a secluded spot. There's a skate park nearby. In worst case scenario, there's bound to be some unfortunate wino around. Or maybe the tennis court's nearby. There's light coming from there, so somebody might still be playing a light night match. You won't be alone, but they might be tired and let their guard down. As these scenarios play out in your mind, you realize you're planning how to assault a stranger in the middle of the night. It's a weird way to be, but the now familiar hunger prompts you to act. Okay. So, where, oh where? Search for I'm gonna go. You start walking. The park's many avenues must hold a good spot or two for a predator like yourself. You pass 2 soccer fields and circle around where Fountain of the Planets once awed visitors with its spectacle before coming across an opportunity. A woman, a small duffel bag on her arm, is making her way through the park in a hurry. She doesn't seem to have noticed you yet. So now I can either lie in wait and overpower her, or presence. Focus her attention. I'm going to try presence. You think back to what Sophie did in the hall, how she managed to focus the attention of the entire gathering on her. It might be a tall order for you, but a single person could be doable. For a moment, you're thinking how an old guy in a hood should appear over your shoulder saying, "Use the Force, M." It feels ridiculous. But then something stirs within you. There's a confidence there, and a lure that you might have had before, but one that's increased manifold in this moment. You catch the woman's eye. She flashes an unsure smile, almost in spite of herself, as she passes you by. Now, do I want to be nice or, Hey, you. She's tense, gripping the bag close, but attentive. Her eyes lock onto yours. The slight smile is there again. Yes? What is it? Almost intuitively, you close the distance between you. She can't look away. She's unprepared for what follows. In a swift move, you grab her and bite down. Her surprise resonates in her blood. Hot, excited, fast-flowing. She tenses up, then relaxes. The duffel bag hits the ground. Bliss. Footsteps. You let go of her, she drops to the ground, barely conscious. A hooded man is looking menacingly at you. What do you think you're doing? Budging on my turf like this, lick. Okay. What did you call me? A lick? What is that supposed to mean? Don't be cute with me. I know what you are. Shove that masquerade bullshit up your ass. Gotta tell me who you're with before my posse shows up and we beat it out of you. You talk big, but I'm thinking you're just a chump. Wanna prove me wrong? He tenses up, gives you an extremely nasty look, and bares his fangs. You don't want to push your luck, dumb fuck. My crew is in earshot, one shot away, and you're done. Done. You get what I'm saying? So if you want to dance, let's dance. Once I'm through, I'm going to hand you over to Callahan, and you're going to be sorry I didn't finish you off instead. Okay. You take off. Fast. Faster than you've ever run. The hoodlum has trouble keeping up. The howls behind you like an animal and gives chase anyway. As you reach the Unisphere, again you slow down, noticing two people near the sculpture. A man and a woman tangled in a passionate embrace. No, not exactly. It's Sophie, feeding. But this whole scene is set up so that it looks like a couple getting intimate in public. She pulls it off like she's done it 100 times before. It occurs to you that she probably has. The man is unsure on his feet as she lets go of him and leads him toward the nearby bench. Noticing you, she whispers something into his ear and leaves him. Her driver appears from behind a tree. Well, Em, how did it go? You're about to answer when the same figure as before emerges from one of the alleys. He looks at the three of you and a predatory smile creeps into his lips. You thought you could run away from me, Lick? Think you'll be safe with your friends? Well, I have friends too. He makes a motion to stop, but two things happen almost at the same time. First, that feeling of warmth and beauty emanating from Sophie flares up again, entrancing both you and the hooded thug. His shout comes out as a weak, confused squeak. Second, Gregory produces a wooden stake from a holster under his jacket and slams it into the thug's chest. Just like that, in a few seconds, the posturing vampire is down on the ground, paralyzed. I see you've made a friend, Em. Curious choice of company, I would say. Who is he? You said this was his turf and then I trespassed on it. I thought this place was supposed to be safe. Well, he's not part of the Camarilla. Corona Park hasn't been claimed by anyone I know of. Curious. Let's go to the car. We'll put him in the trunk and present him to Kadir tomorrow night. I'm sure he'll be delighted to make this hoodlum's acquaintance. Gregory carries the staked vampire and dumps him in the car's trunk like a mannequin. It's a strange sight, and you're quite happy you're not in that poor fucker's shoes right now. It's almost surprising you can't get away with just casually throwing a stiff into your car and driving away, but then you remember that Sophie's been doing this for far longer than you have. Still, the nagging thought that anything you did tonight could have been recorded on a CCTV camera or picked up by a rando with a half-decent smartphone and streamed online fills you with dread. Hunting and using your abilities is a dangerous business. It's clear that this whole being a vampire thing has about as many caveats as it has perks. You're taken out of your headspace by Sophie's voice. I will pick you up tomorrow night, same as tonight. I have some business to attend to at Elysium, and I expect you to accompany me. Plus, our friend in the back needs to be properly introduced to Kadir and the Prince. I'm sure I'll have some interesting things to say to the court. Her voice is cold, cruel, and nothing like the enchanting personality she showed you at the gallery earlier tonight. Sophie is clearly a woman of many faces. Faces that stare in this mirror. Am I right? Oh yeah, you can imagine he's going to enjoy meeting Kadir. Hope he gives him a good grilling. The guy's an asshole. Oh, Kadir will enjoy it too, I'm sure. She pauses, seemingly lost in thought for a while. You haven't told me how your hunting went. Getting the hang of it, I would hope. I'll need time to get used to this. It doesn't come naturally. It will, with time. You need to think about it less. Hunting is the one scenario in which you do well to trust your instincts. In moderation, of course. She seems distracted, not all there. Her thoughts drift and the car remains silent until you reach your apartment. We will pick you up tomorrow evening. Good night. Just like that, without any further courtesy, Sophie leaves, driven to her apartment by Gregory, with a body in the trunk, right in the middle of Manhattan. Did you cross paths with situations like these in the past, unknowingly? What other secrets did you pass in the streets without knowing their true nature? Your haven is just as you left it hours ago. Although the sun won't come up for some time you feel tired, you learn something about yourself today, and it will take time to process. You're not in the mood for television, and the few books on the shelves in the apartment are either in languages you don't speak or sound like a boring read. Nothing left to do but rest. You settle in the back room, lock the door, a moment of hesitation, and then a decision. This time you turn the light off. You think back to Julie. How many people in this city know about this vampiric society? How many are willing accomplices in sustaining it? And the thug you met in the park. If he's not Camarilla, then what is he? Are there independent vampires? How does that work? More questions. You begin wondering if there's ever going to be a night where you can start crossing them off the list instead of adding to it. You close your eyes. You sink into the now familiar void of nothingness. It greets you with open arms, like an old friend. Okay. I'm going to end it right here at the end of this night. Thanks everybody for watching. I know it was a little bit of a short video, but kind of wanted to end it on a sort of the end of a chapter. If you like this sort of video, subscribe, hit that like button, share, leave a comment below. You know, all the things that really let the YouTube algorithm know that you like this sort of content. That being said, thanks for watching. Have a good day.